In a second, but first Nuggets, Lakers, Lonzo Ball with the chase down block. Get him.
All right, CC, break this down. You saw something here I didn't see.
Oh, yeah, watch him put his left hand on his left hip, on his right hip to hold him down. The referees typically won't call that. You put your hand on their back, they're going to call it. Put it on this hip, then he can't elevate. You time it up, smack it off the backboard. Oh, yeah, give me that, son.
Lonzo's defensive instincts have been unbelievable.
Same game. Check this play out from Isaiah Thomas.
Oh, and if you can see the reverse angle, he smiles at the bench right there. When you see his head turn, he is smiling at the bench mid-play. See if you can catch it right there. That's a good play for IT.
No, Jenna, that's the IT that Cleveland traded for.
Right, exactly. That's who I thought they were good. Jokic is a man on an island without a boat.
He should be smiling. Cavs beat the Suns. LeBron with the triple-double. Windmill like he did when he was little, like 15 years ago.
Year 15, CC. What's the athleticism drop by? 5%? 10% at most?
Man, I don't know. I just haven't seen someone like LeBron. I mean, his body has advanced. I mean, he's put some muscle on top of that frame.
This morning, Nick Wright came in and said, did you guys see what Joel Embiid did?
It's going to be forgotten because they end up losing the game. They're down 5 with less than 30 seconds left, and they have to get a bucket here. I've never seen a player in NBA history his size that can do this. Get the ball 54 feet from the basket. He's tightly guarded. Put it on the ground. Then do a reverse pivot spin move into a dunk in a critical spot.
That's pretty cool. The reason why the ball went 54 feet,
I know
they threw it into the guy. No, they didn't throw it. The ball bounced off his head. It went through his hands, hit off his forehead. Watch this. Boom, boom. Yeah. Oh, let me run this down.
Now,
the rest of this is special.
The rest of this is
special. The other thing was...
He made up for it. I've never seen a guy his size that can do precisely what he can do.
All right, time now for in or out. Let's go. Animation. Steven Jackson loves that word. The Packers have reportedly agreed to a 3-year deal with Jimmy Graham. The 31-year-old tight end has just 520 yards last season with Seattle, but he caught 10 touchdowns. Only DeAndre Hopkins caught more. CC, you in or out on Jimmy Graham being a good fit with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers?
I'm in, and it's because of the play caller and not necessarily the quarterback. We know Aaron Rodgers who he is, but I believe that Mike McCarthy, one of the best play callers in the league, will get back to the productivity that Jimmy Graham had in New Orleans with Sean Payton, who I believe is one of the top play callers I've seen in the league. Seattle, they don't have that type of play caller, so I expect his productivity to get back close to New Orleans. He can't be as productive as in New Orleans because that was record-setting years there, but yes, I'm in on Jimmy Graham with the Pack.
I'm also in on Jimmy Graham with the Packers. I think he will continue to, at the very least, be a dominant red zone option for Green Bay and give them added dynamic receiver threat up the seam as the tight end. I also am in on Jimmy Graham's career decisions as far as what quarterbacks you want to play with as a pass-catching tight end. How about you go Drew Brees to Russell Wilson to Aaron Rodgers? No McCown brothers mixed in there for Jimmy Graham. So, no, I'm in on this. I think it's a good pickup by Green Bay.
That is a great point. All right, moving on to former Packer. Green Bay cut wide receiver Jordy Nelson. One place he's rumored to sign with is the New England Patriots. Nick, you in or out on the Patriots signing Jordy Nelson?
I'm out. I feel like what happened here is the Patriots cut Danny Amendola, or they didn't cut Danny Amendola, but he leaves. Jordy Nelson's available. They're like, Patriots seem to like wide receivers that look like Jordy, but what they need is another slot receiver. They've got guys on the outside. Like, that role, to me, is filled for...
Who do they have on the outside?
They have Brandon Cooks. They have Hogan. They added Malcolm Mitchell. They added the...
Do you think Brandon Cook is a better all-round receiver than Jordy Nelson? And forget about Hogan. I mean, I know you're not going to answer that one.
At this point in his career, absolutely. I think Jordy post-ACL is a different player. I don't...
Hogan's very, very limited at what he can do, and Brandon Cook is a straight-line guy. There's a reason why New Orleans got off of him, and he's going to be a free agent. After this season, I'll be shocked if New England signs him to a loan. He's stiff in his hips, and he can only run few routes. They got Edelman coming back for the slot, so they do need another outside receiver. They just haven't been able to get one as good as Jordy Nelson. Watch Jordy Nelson. If he goes to New England, watch his productivity come back up.
You want to see that? Are you in?
Yeah, I'm in.
Okay. Just wondering.
I'm in on Wonder Bread. Yeah.
There it was. There we got
Moving on to Sam Bradford, who has reportedly agreed to a one-year, $20 million deal with Arizona. That is not a bad deal for Sam Bradford. He's been successful when he hasn't been injured, even though it feels like he's always injured. CC, you went around on Sam Bradford playing at least, let's call it, 10 games with Arizona. I used my fingers in case I forgot the number.
Sam Bradford's been doing it to me for the last couple of years. Went to my team, traded for him, 2 high draft picks. No, not able to stay healthy. And then now he goes with my second son, Larry Fitzgerald. Definitely going to send him into early retirement. Nope.
Won't make 10 games.
So you're out.
Nope.
No. Okay.
I am out as well. Why am I out? Because I've been alive for the last 10 years, and I can't remember the last season Sam Bradford made it through the whole thing healthy. You can't believe in his ability to stay healthy. I was listening to an NFL free agency podcast yesterday, and they alluded to the fact, Sam Bradford, low-key, might be the best golfer in the NFL. Well, I wonder why. Because he ain't been playing too much football the last decade. Got a lot of time for the golf. Arizona's a great place for that. I hope he stays healthy because of your guy, Larry Fitzgerald, but I have no reason
But
to
you'll
believe
agree, when he is healthy, he's a
good.
great addition to his team.
He has a degenerative knee condition. He's had 2 ACLs, and last year he got a thigh bruise that almost killed him. Okay? All right? Those things are real. I'm out.
The dying from the thigh bruise is a rough one, but we saw it happen.
How do I? That's
We
so
saw it happen.
funny.
Teddy Bridgewater nearly needed his leg amputated.
I know, but
and it had the same impact as his thigh bruise.
To the Titans now. They agreed to deals with a pair of former Patriots, running back Deion Lewis for 4 years and cornerback Malcolm Butler for 5. Now, that's an interesting one. Nick, are you in or out on the Titans being contenders with new additions of Butler and Lewis?
Man, I am out, and I love our producer, Pepper, who puts these questions together. But when he asked me this question before the show, I thought I had misheard it. Titans contender? Like, because they added a third down running back and they added, I think, a good but not great corner? Like, I don't know how that, to me, they're nowhere close to contender status. The question, I know they made the playoffs last year. That was, to me, one of the worst teams to make the playoffs out of the AFC in quite some time. I don't think the Titans are jumping a level. I'd be surprised if they don't take a step backwards from their playoff appearance this coming season.
I'm in as a fan of the coach, was Mike Vrabel, who's actually trying to bring the New England culture to Tennessee. His history there with Belichick. How do you bring that culture? You just can't do it by yourself. You got to try to go out and acquire some of the players. The only reason why I'm not in on the team being a contender is because of the division that they play in. Indianapolis will be better with Frank Wright as their coach and Andrew Luck coming back. Houston will be better with Deshaun Watson, J.J. Watt. And Jacksonville is for real. So that's the only reason why I got to be out, but I like what they're doing in Tennessee.
Think about how much times have changed, CC, that now all of a sudden being in the AFC South is a detriment to your contending.
That's what I was going to try to tell you when you were doing your flow charts, Bart. 3 years from now, the Vikings, they're going to be, man, 3 years from now, we better hope to have a job.
Finally, Des Bryant met with Jerry Jones yesterday. According to reports, the topic of a pay cut never came up. Interesting. Nick, you in or out on Des Bryant having a bounce-back season?
If we're asking, is Des Bryant going to be markedly better than he was last year, I'm out. Like, I think at this point in Dez's career, what he needs to make sure is that that arrow stops pointing down and that it just levels off. Like, if Des Bryant's been worse each of the last 3 years than the year prior. Like, that's the trend that needs to stop. I need to see that trend stop before I believe the arrow's going to tick back up. So I'm out on Dez having a bounce back year.
It's interesting on Jerry sharing the information with people that he didn't talk about a pay cut. Let me tell you what he didn't talk about either. He didn't talk about a pay raise. All right, so no, they didn't talk about giving him more money. They didn't talk about taking less money, but we know the conversation eventually what it's going to be. I'm in on Dez Bryant because I believe he can have another 1,000-yard season. I believe he'll be more focused in this offseason, and I believe with the changes in the coaching staff, they'll do things more creative to get Dez involved in different ways. So with Dez, I'm in. I believe he gets a turnaround this year.
All right, look forward to
That's
seeing
why
that.
you don't know what I'm going to say.
No, that's a shocker. That one shocks me. All right, I'm out of the business of guessing what CC's going to say.
Take a
Retired.
break. Coming up, bad news for the Warriors that could impact them in the playoffs. Next on First Things First.